you a firm believer of the Constitution?
Do you believe that everyone is born with equal rights?
Does being an active member in your community matter to you?
Do you want to make a change?
Since women work hard, why can't we vote?
We are women, and we advocate for women's rights.
The goal of this movement is for all women to obtain suffrage in order to strive for equality in society. By having voting rights, women have the ability to push for reform towards rights that are equivalent to men's. Since we contributed to the well-being of the American economy during the war, we should have a say in our government and be allowed to express our opinions. My name is Alice Paul, and I am an advocate for women's rights because I firmly believe that women have all the same natural rights as men, and we should therefore be treated and respected the same. I have participated in several activist movements such as the Silent Sentinels, where I picketed the White House for 18 months. I was even sentenced to jail for 7 months, where I organized hunger strikes as a way of protest and was force-fed.
Eat! You have to eat!
Spread of my poor treatment, and I gained public sympathy and support for suffrage. Eventually, I gained President Woodrow Wilson's support, and the 19th Amendment was finally put into action and passed. I put all my effort into obtaining equal rights for men and women for the betterment of this nation. Don't you think it's time for you to make a change?
My name is Matilda Jocelyn Gage. Along with my friends Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Katie Stanton, I was also a founding member of the National Women's Suffrage Association. I helped organize the Virginia and New York State Suffrage Associations for 20 years. I also published the National Citizen and Ballot Box, which was the official newspaper to NWSA between the years of 1878 to 1881. I am a strong and firm believer that everyone deserves the same equal rights. I am pushing towards the goal of getting women the opportunity and the right to vote. In 1871, I took a huge risk and decided to try and vote myself. However, I was sadly unsuccessful.
So you don't want me to sit and go through this one, or are you going to wait?
Yes,
I'll come
but
back
no.
tomorrow because I want to try like the other ones at home.
Okay,
And then come
alright.
back and see what I did wrong.
Okay, so you're able to answer this
Are you
one, right?
saying
What are you doing? Yo!
Although I failed at trying to vote, my friend Susan B. Anthony was very successful in getting her vote to pass through.
I voted.
I made sure that throughout her whole trial in court, I was there with her in full support of her actions. In 1880, I was successful in leading 102 Fayetteville women to the polls in New York State. At this time, New York State actually allowed women to vote in school districts where they paid their taxes. Additionally, I formed the Women's National Liberal Union in 1890 to fight moves to unite church and state. Overall, I believe that us women need to stick together, and I will continue to fight for women's rights until the day I die. My lifelong motto that I hope to even see engraved in my gravestone is this very statement: there is a word sweeter than mother, home, or heaven. That word is liberty.
Good morning. My name is Lucy Stone, and I'm an advocate for women's rights and an abolitionist. I present my thoughts about equal rights during my lectures to the public. Sometimes, when I present my speech to the public, I face verbal and physical attacks.
stupid?
But that does not stop me. I fight for dress reform, voting rights for women, temperance, abolition, and married women's access to property rights and divorce. I decided to keep my last name instead of replacing it with my husband's. I helped organize the first Women's Rights Convention in Massachusetts in 1850. I refuse to pay taxes when a government who enforces them does not allow me to participate in it. Women suffer taxation but without representation, which is contrary to one theory of the Constitution. Can you believe that? I helped organize the New England Women's Tea Party. Sounds familiar, right? Boston Tea Party? Where we protested taxation without representation. I wanted to make a change and have the opportunity to let my voice be heard. So I created the American Equal Rights Association, determined to extend the right to vote no matter what race or sex. I also founded the newspaper for this association called Women's Journal, which helped expose the issues of injustice we women have to face to further support the right to vote. After the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendment, which allowed African American males the right to vote, I decided to resign and believed the women's suffrage movement was better handled at the state level. Although other suffragists did not agree with me, however, I continued to work for women's suffrage. I hope that my effort for equal rights persuades America that equal rights should be offered to everyone, like what we as Americans claim to be born with. If men can do it, so can we.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Katie Stanton, and I am a chief philosopher of the women's rights movement and an abolitionist. I believe women should have the same rights as men do. When I was on my honeymoon in London, I met my good friend Lucreta Mott, who, like many of us, are angry because we don't have the same rights as men. In 1848, we met up, and Lucreta and I held our first women's rights convention in Seneca Falls, New York. Here I read a document I wrote called Declaration of Sentiments. This was a document of the Declaration of Independence. I added the words women and women throughout the Declaration.
Is that Thomas Jefferson?
The Declaration of Independence. We, the people, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Men? Are you serious? Men and women are created equal. My document also consisted of social and legal changes that should lift women in the society. These are shown in my 18 grievances against men, which stated issues about our low wages, inability to gain custody of our children after divorce, and our inability to vote. The same year, I petitioned to pass the New York Married Women's Property Act.
All the single ladies, 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 all the.
While trying to get this act passed, I met Susan B. Anthony in 1851. We gave speeches and wrote books and articles together. Me and Susan founded the National Women's Suffrage Association. I believe strongly in the 15th Amendment, and we want women to come and fight with us for the right to vote. Then we started a newspaper called The Revolution. Our motto is justice, not favor, men their rights, and nothing more. Women their rights and nothing less. If you want the same rights as men, you should read this paper because we write about serious topics such as women's suffrage, education, and divorce. Come out and support the movement if you're tired of living in men's shadows.
Good morning. My name is Susan B. Anthony. I was an American social reformer and women's rights activist who played a pivotal role in the women's suffrage movement. My upbringing in a Quaker household led me to develop an idea of social equality and align with abolitionist ideals. Throughout my life, I campaigned for the end of slavery and equality between men and women. On my journey, I partnered with Elizabeth Katie Stanton and established the Women's New York State Temperance Society. We later formed the New York State Women's Rights Committee. For the next few years, I traveled, petitioned, and campaigned as a means of spreading my message. The end of the Civil War led to my renewed focus on women's rights, and I partnered with Stanton again to establish the American Equal Rights Association in 1866. We called for the same rights to be granted to all, regardless of race or sex. We spread our message through our weekly publication called The Revolution. In 1869, Anthony and Stanton founded the National Women's Suffrage Association. During this time, I still went around the country giving speeches to convince others that women deserve the same rights as men. More importantly, women should be able to have the right to vote. In 1872, I got tired of waiting and I voted illegally in the presidential election. I was arrested and fined $100 that I never paid.
What do you think you're doing?
We women deserve the right to vote.
Really? Turn around.
I continued championing for a change even into my last years. In 1905, I met with President Theodore Roosevelt to lobby for an amendment to give women the right to vote. If you're a decent human being with decent understandings of the natural rights that we all hold and the equal rights we should all have, then I beseech you to come out, petition, and campaign alongside me to help women gain the rights that they deserve.
This movement will be a major turning point in history with your help.
By attending rallies and protesting, you can help raise awareness to this cause.
The future of gender equality is in our hands.
There's strength in numbers, and together,
We can make a change.
Have arrived. The 330 North and South buses are in. Please have your ID card.
Oh my God!
You didn't say 30. My name is Sandy. This is iCarly.
They're running with track ice. Where are they going?
They left us by ourselves.
I'm Alice Paul, and you're watching Disney Channel.
This movement will be a major turning point in history. With your
Oh, I missed your role!